Hey, Kelton.
Hi, Krisserin.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Krisserin. Hi, Kelton.
Hi. Hi, Krisserin's mom. Welcome.
I'm Krisserin Canary, and I'm Kelton Wright. Follow our quest to publish our first novels,
From first drafts to query letters,
through inevitable rejection,
and hopefully eventual success.
from California
To Colorado, this is Pen Pals.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
listeners on the podcast this week, we have our number one fan. My mom is here. This is Kennette, Canary, for everyone listening. My mom, she is also an artist and a writer and Pen Pal super fan and is in Los Angeles this week to help me while my husband is in Asia. So we thought we'd have her join for a little bit and just say hi.
Hello. Hello, guys. I love this.
We're always asking everyone's origin story, and now we have yours, Krisserin. We have your author.
That is true.
Oh,
You are
that's
the
nice.
creator of my existence.
Yeah.
Well, I need to know. I need to know from your perspective, Kennette, when you knew that Krisserin was going to be a writer.
Third grade, when she was reading this book about a little mouse, and she looked at the back cover, which is like a synopsis, and then she sort of copied it, and she felt so proud, and she put it in a contest, and she won. But she plagiarizes, and I told her, you could have done better than that. And I just noticed that I would write and she would be right there writing her own little stories. So it was so cute. And she's surpassed me by going to college and getting a degree, which was something I wanted to do and never had the opportunity to. And I kind of live vicariously between you and her, watching this podcast and learning about things I had never even realized, such as the self-publishing, which I did, such as agents, which I never even thought of. So I'm from this generation that's not computer savvy, but I really want to learn about it. And she's helped me. You've helped me on writing. So sort of when I realized she was a writer, and she's a better writer than me, but
That's not true.
we have our different styles.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm going to read some of your writing.
Oh, well, it's on Amazon. I can do a plug, right?
Yes.
I told her, she's like, you're going to plug my book. And I was like, yes, absolutely.
I have a self-published book, Mary Magdalene's Once Upon a Time. So it's on Amazon. It's been there forever. And I think one person has actually bought it. So, yeah, my book's there. And then I have another book that I wrote about my experiences working for the fire department. And there are a lot of people who have tragedies in their lives and have come back out the other side. And I thought, it's sad that these people haven't got a voice. So I wrote this story called The Book of Claire. And it's a woman who has had trauma in her life. And she writes, she's trying to get through it, so she's writing things down. And we share her experiences. And her way of coping is to fantasize and create a fantasy world. It helps her. So that's called The Book of Claire on Wattpad.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that is sort of perfect because we are talking about self-publishing today.
I know. That was, yeah, it's the energy of the universe. I should do tarot cards too.
You used to do
Yes.
tarot cards.
I used to a long time ago. Then I got
right, well-
Christian. Christian. And it was not allowed.
Well, I'll carry on the pagan tradition for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll pull some cards today.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions for
She
my
just
mom?
came here to plug Krisserin.
Love it.
She's just selling her books and she's
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like,
Thank
don't
you.
ask me any more questions. You know, I don't remember that plagiarism story the same. I remember it differently.
Oh, do you?
I remember I told this story to Kelton before, how
Yeah.
it was like I basically like whole cloth copied someone else's story. I didn't remember it was a published book.
Yeah.
I remember copying my classmate, and I was like, I can write better than my classmate.
Yeah. That happened too.
Oh, different.
Yeah. She was searching for a voice, and it was not hers.
Listen,
know
we all
what?
start somewhere.
Yes. Well, 9 years old.
Don't artists start
8
by like
years
copying
old.
other painters'
That's-
work?
That's true.
Okay.
Practice.
Yeah.
Practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's really good.
Yeah, I knew there was like an idiom in there somewhere about copying and imitation.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
true.
That's so funny, Mom.
Thank you guys for having the podcast because it is very
I
educational.
was going to say, is there
It's
anything
helped a
else you
lot.
want to say? Any words of advice or wisdom for Kelton?
Well, you're in a phase that I remember very distantly because my oldest is in his 50s. But that time I do remember is I never got any sleep.
Yeah.
So I empathize with you. And I remember what Margaret Atwood said about women writers, that you will always be interrupted and we just have to deal with it. So
Your advice, we'll just have to deal with
you just have to deal with it.
Margaret Atwood, deal
It's-
with it.
It's
really
It's
uplifting.
tough. It's tough being a woman.
Yeah,
It's tough
it's
being
tough.
a writer and creative. Yeah. And raising
Yeah.
children and raising a husband.
raising
Think-
a husband.
That's the one.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, but you did it, and you're still right. How long have you been writing for?
Oh, I've been writing since I was a teenager. Yeah, since I was a teenager, I wanted a voice. And I was the oldest of 8 kids, and nobody heard me. So, yeah, and
Yeah.
the tumult.
Well,
Well, the page is always there for us, thankfully.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
We were talking about it on the way, and we dropped off the kids this morning. Who were you talking? You were talking about. Actually, we were talking about Lady Gaga of all people.
Yes.
Because Ren is in a little monster phase now.
Ah.
I've been listening to a lot of Lady Gaga in the car, and she goes, "How does someone raise a child like? How does someone?" And we
So
watched
confident.
so confident and artistic.
unabashedly, I am me and this is it. So take it or leave it. I don't care. I thought that was amazing of her.
And I
Yeah.
said to her, we were talking about also, we watched Piece by Piece, the Lego movie about Pharrell Williams last night, which is so good. And if anyone who hasn't seen that should go watch it, because it's basically him telling his whole life story through Legos. And he has synesthesia, so he can see music. And they use Legos to show him building beats. And it's really cool. Anyway, we were talking about how do you raise a child to be so self-confident and assured that they can just be creative and be themselves. And I told Mom, I was like, you did it with me.
Mm.
You encouraged me and always.
Absolutely. I wanted everything that I didn't have that she could have. So
And so now I'm trying to give it back to her.
thank you.
Let's read
Thank
things.
you.
Let's write. Let's do fun things
Yeah,
together.
and things together. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the pod.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for being the number one fan.
It was very nice to have a direct conversation with you.
It was
you
so
guys.
wonderful to meet you.
Oh, thank you. Me too. You. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mom. How are you feeling? You sick?
No, I'm well, yes, kind of. I had quite a week.
Ugh.
I on Saturday morning I woke up with
Oh.
vertigo.
That's right. I read about that. I read about that.
I had a really severe case of vertigo. It's only the second time I've ever had it. So it's still pretty novel and I don't really have a routine for managing it. Obviously,
So debilitating.
it's really debilitating. We were in the desert, hours away from all of my creature comforts and
Yeah.
like routines and stuff. And so I still am recovering from it now, like 5 days later. Like I can feel my eyes shaking while we're doing this. And then, of course, in the middle of that, I also got my period. And then I got an allergy attack that is still persisting. So
What the
I-
fuck?
I am
You
feeling
need to
quite bad.
I feel like you need to do some magic. I feel like there is like some cleansing, some salt at your doorstep, like
I know.
something.
I know. And thankfully, I do have time for a little witchcraft today. And I did a little future spell casting yesterday in that I booked a facial and a massage.
I love
and
that.
a lash lift. I was like, okay, you know what? We're putting some stuff on the calendar.
yeah.
Mama's got to take care of herself.
Yes.
So I am feeling very, very tired because I keep waking up in the middle of the night with the spins. So it's been hard to get over. I haven't been able to like get into a doctor. I know a lot of people listening deal with vertigo, and I've done all the like Epley maneuvers and that stuff. Like I know enough people with vertigo that I had quite a team in my arsenal once I got home to be like, do this, do this, do this. And I've done all that stuff. So it is getting better, but my body is, I have a long history with health anxiety. I'm mostly better now, but there's some learned patterns in that, like when my body goes into freak out mode, like my brain is like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So I'm like, not only am I managing the vertigo, I'm managing a lot of like
Anxiety.
past anxiety around it.
Yeah.
Which I think I did really well this time, but it was like getting the period and getting the allergy attack like at the same time. I was like, stop it. I am busy managing things. So like, but what a blessing that the child went back to daycare this week. So I did actually have some time to just like, breathe. And despite it all, I wrote 1,567 words.
Oh, yeah.
So I did hit that goal. Thankfully, the rest of the goals that I had been like bludgeoning myself with at the end of last week's episode, I did like right after we recorded. So I
Nice.
did one more unstuck prompt. I did review my sample chapters for literary magazines, and I sent one of them to the Sun magazine. And then I
And
read...
you did everything. You're like,
Yeah,
I
and
had vertigo, and I just accomplished all my goals anyway.
Yeah, but the vertigo didn't start until Saturday. All of this happened on Thursday.
Okay.
I wrote yesterday. So I wrote with like a little bit of vertigo, but it was at the tail end. But the other stuff I did all on that Thursday after the call. And I read my short story Slug again and was like, this is something I've worried about with Slug for years, is that it is literally just the beginning of a novel. And I read it again and I was like, it is. This is the beginning of a novel. So I was like, all right, let's leave Slug alone. Don't read it. Don't bother with it. Like, you can write that book once Anita Keep is finished.
You literally accomplished all of your goals.
I did.
I'm looking at them in our document. I accomplished none of mine. I did nothing. Well, hold on. That's not quite true. I actually did go by. I went to Barnes and Noble, and which I know people have given me crap about going to Barnes and Noble, but there's no small bookstore near people. There's no small books. There's no small bookstore, independent bookstore in my proximity. I would have to drive to like, I think Tarzana is the closest one. And for me to accomplish goals, it has to be somewhat.
Yeah, you got to fit them in your life.
Yeah. I did buy 4. I bought, I think, Plowshares, Granta, Zizova, and the Paris Review. By the way, I went and sat down like on the floor at Barnes & Noble, and they have in the magazine section where all the literary journals are. There were literary journals, like actual issues of them, that were from like the spring of 2023. I'm just pulling them out and looking at which ones to buy. And some of them were so old. I think only one of them, and it might have been Granta, was from the spring of 26. Everything else was fall of 25. So some of them had been sitting there for years and not purchased. But I did buy them. Did I read them? No. But I bought them. I did one thing on my goal list. Mine were 1,500 words, an unstuck prompt, another Marian draft, and buying some journals and reading them. It was just, this week's been crazy. My mom was like, how do you
your husband's gone, your mom is in town. Like, I know in that scenario when there's like new help in town, it's like, oh, I'll get more done. But it's like, you want to hang out with those people.
Yeah, it's true.
So spend time.
It's true. And I mean, just to talk through the things that I've done this week, it's been a crazy week at work. We planted a tree yesterday for Earth Day at my school with my mom and my daughter. We went and saw Project Hail Mary. I took her to see Project Hail Mary, which actually was very inspiring even to see it the second time. It made me think about elements of my story and another short story that I've been working on in a different way. And it made me think that I'm really bad at not like rereading things or rewatching things, but I feel like as a writer, you notice things more on the second go around. And I just wish I had more patience to do that
Mm.
because it's really hard for me. But, when they talk about reading as a writer, if I'm reading something for school, I will read it like 2 or 3 times. I don't know
Yeah.
why I can't do that for myself. You know?
I'm a pretty big rereader, but I'm only doing it for my favorites. Like, I'm not going back to be like, wow, that was a really challenging book. Let me see how the author put it together. Like, no. Like, that sounds really romantic, but that's not what this girl is doing.
I do feel like I was thinking about you in your screenwriting class. I do feel like the thing that I noticed this time around with Project Hail Mary, and it's not spoiling anything, was just I feel like when I write or when I write stories that have flashbacks, I thought that there had to be a specific rhythm of it. And what I liked about the movie, and I don't remember how they did it, I think it was very different in the book, is that the flashbacks were perfectly timed to give you a piece of information about the story that you didn't know before. And I really appreciated that as a viewer. I mean, movies, I think, do a really good job of that just by nature of its structure. But yeah. Oh, I had my new student orientation on Monday for grad school. That was fun.
Yeah. How was it?
It was great. From what I can tell in my cohort, there's one man, and it's all women in this MFA
Listen,
program.
I love that.
Yeah, I did buy my ticket I'm flying into Santa Fe, which I guess I'm like, should I have flown into Albuquerque? Because I guess they're relatively close, but I had to stop over either way. But I bought my ticket. I'm going to be staying in the dorms. I'm excited. It was really cool. I've got to get 20
Dude, that's
pages.
amazing.
Yeah, I've got to get 20 pages together for that. So I'm actually thinking that my short story will be the thing that I submit for a workshop because it still needs work.
Yeah.
It's a little bit long. I've got to cut 15 pages. We'll figure it out. But yeah,
That's awesome.
busy freaking week, really.
Yeah. You accomplished
but-
other goals.
Yeah, I did. I made an eye appointment. I took my kids to the dentist. Like all this stuff. Ren had to get a tooth pulled at the dentist.
Ooh.
It wasn't bad. She was so brave. I was so proud of her. She's just
That's really nice.
yeah. Yeah.
So we were just talking to your mom about self-publishing, and it is amazing timing because that is exactly what we're talking partially to our guest about today. We're having Rachael Maddux on, who was suggested to us by my friend Katie Hawkins-Garr, who writes My Sweet Dumb Brain on Substack. You should read Katie's work if you haven't already. It's really moving and always just feels like reading like a friend's warm hug. And so as soon as Katie suggested someone, I think we were both like, yeah, I trust you.
Yeah. And you know what? I was thinking about this. We have had so many people on the pod who just slid into our DMs or have suggested a friend. I love it. I really do feel like we're building this community of friends that are trying to publish or are publishing and are out there working toward the same goal. And it feels really nice. It feels really, really nice. Another listener, Sarah Revson, did a roundup of all the podcasts that she listens to and included pen pals. And it really warmed my heart to be included. And then I will say we had another listener reach out who is a big fan. And she messaged me just to say how much she loved the podcast. And she has a book coming out. It's a kid's book. And it's called The Star Who Lost Her Shine. And her name is Alex Huey Evans. And so we're going to include a link to Alex's book in the show notes. Everyone, if you have a kid or you know a kid, please consider pre-ordering her book and supporting the Pen Pals community. I just love it. It just makes me so happy. Our little friend
really
group.
Nice.
Yeah. So please reach out to us and email us and let us know what you're doing because I love this feeling of being able to uplift each other. We're all in the trenches together. We'll get there. So we're so excited to have Rachael on the podcast, Rachael Maddux. She is the author of Life Expectancy, a memoir, as well as the short story collections The Void, Notes on a Few Miscarriages, and Third Person, Notes on a First Year. Her essays, features, and reviews have appeared in the Oxford American, Virginia Quarterly Review, Garden and Gun, and elsewhere. After many years in Atlanta, she lives with her family in Chattanooga, Tennessee. where she grew up. Life Expectancy is a millennial coming-of-age memoir about growing up mortal in the American South at the turn of the 21st century, obsessed with the question of how to live when you know you're gonna die. All right, without further ado,
question.
yes, let's talk about death. All right, here's Rachel. Do you think Kelton and I sound alike?
At first I was struggling. Today, I finally had a breakthrough. I don't know what it was. I think it was after listening. This is going to make me sound like such a suck up. After listening to Helton by herself, talking to Courtney Mom, when it came back into the outro, I was like, okay, now I know the difference. Like,
Interesting.
I don't know. You like, you're different shaped blobs in my mind now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
And now that I'm seeing you, it's like, you're very different looking.
Yeah.
And I'd seen pictures and I was like, I don't know how these women look so different and sound so the same to me. But I have like,
we're just
all my regular podcasts are like gay guy and then a woman. So it's like very easy.
we're a couple of harmonizing altos over here. I think it might help this
true.
week that I'm sick. So
A little duskier.
yeah.
I will say, I don't know, Kelton, if you had this experience, but, we met at Headspace. And before I joined, I listened to a lot of the meditations with Andy Pettycombe. And his voice is so particular and it's like in your ear so clearly and it feels so intimate. And then you meet him in person and it's like, don't talk to me. I'm deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I know, Kelton, if you had that experience.
No, yeah. Yeah, I did. I think he's
Fucking
used
weird.
to that probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, you meet him through like an ASMR setting,
Yes.
And then in person, he's like, "Can you please stop talking to me?"
Yeah. And then he went on Ellen and she said he sounded like the Geico gecko and he was so pissed.
Oh, I would love a guided meditation by the Geico gecko.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, just listen to Headspace. I
Great.
guess.
Okay, great.
I'm really excited to talk about your self-published memoir, Life Expectancy. I don't know where Kelton just went. She completely just banged out, but that's okay.
She's got blower nose.
Poor thing. So I think to start, my mom and I just read your first opening pages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were really enjoying it. And are we just going to talk about death for an hour? Is that what's going to happen?
Totally fine. Or moms too.
Or moms or whatever. Kelton's back. Everything okay?
Yeah, speaking of death, I feel like it.
Oh, hello.
Welcome back. So I am shocked that you had friends that hadn't considered the fact that someday they were going to die. Like, don't all children go through a moment when they're like, my mom is going to die, my dad is going to die? I feel like, isn't that the rite of passage, this existential realization that we're not on this earth permanently? How did your friend go 28 years of living without that realization?
My guess, and it's funny, like we're still close, and I should ask her about it sometimes now that I've put her on blast in the literal first paragraph of the book. But having gone through the process of also re-examining my entire childhood, I think I have an extra good memory of my childhood. And so my guess is if someone's like in their 20s or 30s and they're like, oh my God, wait, I didn't realize this. Maybe you did, but you just forgot.
I think a lot of people also
I've had to relearn so many things.
You can also grow up just in the safety of religion and myth.
Yeah, that too.
Where like a lot of people, like when they death is more like a doorway, and so they don't really think of it as an ending. They're just like, well, I go to this really cool place where all my pets are waiting for me.
Exactly.
And like when you're like 7 or 8 and that's the mythology around it, I can see how people get to 28 and are like, oh.
Yeah, it makes sense too. Like, I mean, I grew up, this is in the book too, so I don't want to be so repetitive, but maybe it's promotion. I don't know. But I grew up Episcopalian, which is like pretty chill relatively, but like
Me too.
Oh, what's up?
Is that Catholic light?
Kind of. Yeah,
it's like Catholic, but you can get divorced.
Yeah, it's like all the pomp and circumstance, but like none of the Latin and none of the intense psychological damage. It's pretty easy to drift out of, is what I found. I didn't realize this for a long time. It's very like, well, we don't really know. Do you get to heaven? Just do your best. Like really chill about it.
Yeah, it's like Christian without the youth pastors.
Yeah, we still had some, but we were, let's talk about how much we love Rushmore and play Trivial Pursuit. But then I had friends in high school that were like super conservative Baptists, and they were like, you, doesn't count that you were baptized as a baby. I thought I was on top of it, but they were like, doesn't count. And they're like, you're definitely going to go to hell if you're not doing exactly what we're doing. Or that's what their church said. But so yeah, I grew up in Tennessee. So it was like the soup that we emerged out of. But I think a lot of people get out of that mode, especially when they're living on their own and they're like, oh, wait, hold on. What if I don't believe this? And if I pull this one Jenga block, like everything falls down, because then I have to reckon with not only my childhood and my parents feeding me information that I no longer believe, but also what happens to me if there's not a heaven and not a hell. Do I just rot in a box? Do I get scattered into the wind? Like literally?
Yeah, we become worm food. We feed
Best
back in.
case, hopefully, unless you're like, talk about death practices. That might be a whole other conversation. Or you just sit there looking like a weird version of yourself in a weird, very expensive box for the rest of the planet.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm getting
existence.
cremated. It's like, I don't want to rot. Just sprinkle me in my favorite place. Well, tell us a little bit about why you wrote this book now. This, obviously it's something that came, like you definitely fixated on in your youth. What about this moment in time now made you go back and write about this?
Well, that is a funny question because I did not write this book now. I actually started writing the book around the time of this conversation that happens in the first chapter, which was like 2012. And I had been like, ever since I was a child, I was like, I'm going to write books. I'm going to write books. Then I was like in my 20s being like, well, you actually have to have something that you write about. You can't just like poop out a book. So I was like, what is it going to be? And I kind of landed on, this is the thing that I felt really drawn to, is figuring out, there's this divide between me and like the world, I feel like, whether or not that was actually true. So I kind of started just like writing towards like trying to figure out that question of like, what was the deal with my childhood relationship with death? And then I worked on that book for a long, long time. I think I had a first draft in like 2015. And then I got an agent in 2017. We worked on it for several years together, and it was finally ready to go out on submission in 2021. So it was on submission for a really long time. Just like neither of us were talking about it. We're obviously, once it didn't happen in the first couple months, it was kind of like, maybe it'll just take a long time. And then I had a baby in 2022. And then I quit my job, and then my family moved from Atlanta back to our hometown of Chattanooga. And then I kind of landed back here, and I was like, okay, that book's not selling. It's been 3 years on submission. Not even a no. Not even just like total crickets as far as I'm aware. I think it went out during the first flush of hot vax summer. Everyone was like, yeah, roaring 20s. And then whatever, COVID was not done yet. So all plans were scrapped at the end of that summer. And I think it kind of just got lost. And I wasn't a celebrity. I didn't have a huge platform. It was like a relatively quiet book. It was going to be one of those small, quiet. I mean, maybe I'm underselling it, but I had expectations that it would sell, but I didn't have expectations that it was going to be the next, Reese Witherspoon movie or something. So yeah, I revised it between 2024 and 2025. And then that's where it came from. So it wasn't even now. And the reason of why now, it was like, because I had to get it out.
Yeah.
I had to be done with it. I had to like
close the door.
And I like thought about it. Like one option was just like scrapping it and moving on. And I was like, I really psychologically don't think I can move on from this. I probably could have, but I was like, no, I really want it to exist. So that is why now. And it's because of the past, what year is it now?
2026.
Past
Jeez.
14 years of work. It's because I was like, I either have to stay in this mode forever or just move on and get this out here and go live the rest of my life.
So what was the conversation like with your agent? Going on submission, not hearing anything.
It was hard. I mean, like we had worked on it for, at that point, like almost 4 years together.
Wow.
She's incredibly patient. Like I feel like we have a relationship that's hopefully going to go on for many, many years. So I didn't see it as like you better sell this book or I'm like hopping over to the next person. She was such a good reader of the book, gave so many good edits, not just as a agent and like thinking about it as like the product that the publishers would be receiving it as, but as a reader and as someone that was like getting to know me through the process. So we had a lot of really, really good creative conversations for many years before this. So we had this level of trust, and then she was positive about it. She was like, okay, we have high hopes. And then when those high hopes were kind of fading, she was like, you know what? I've sold books after 18 months that were excellent books and had great lives. And then she had a baby, then I had a baby, and life just kind of happened, and we would check in every so often, and she changed jobs and changed agencies. So it was just kind of this rock that was getting kicked down the road. And she was always very positive, but she was never blowing smoke up my ass, if that makes sense. When we had the conversation, I was like, I think I just have to take this back and do it on my own. She was like, all right. She helped me a lot with the launch even. One day she will hopefully make $5 or $10 off of me because she's put in quite a lot of work.
It's crazy to think that agents do all of that work for free.
I know. And I know some, I've heard of people like losing their agents because their books didn't sell. So hopefully, I mean, I was always like, I like to pick a person. Like, I'm married to my high school sweetheart, which is kind of like a creepy thing for some people. And I was like, I pick a person and I stick with it. I'm not like going to beat bop around. I'm like, okay, I'm married to my agent for life, which I know isn't true. But I want you to be 60-year-old and selling my book when I'm 60 years old. Like my third book probably at that point. But
Rachel, what's your star sign?
oh my God, I actually... Not to sound like such a suck up, but I looked this up because you guys were talking about yours. I re-downloaded CoStar for the first time. I'm a Scorpio.
Incredible.
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay.
I got my whole...
And you wrote a book about death. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I'm a, let me look all this. I'm a Scorpio with a Taurus moon and an Aries rising.
Okay.
So I read through all this and I was like, I don't know, something about being in my 40s and having stuff kind of more settled than the last time I looked at it. I was like, oops, this is sounding very real.
That Taurus moon is your loyalty for sure.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm a very, like, loyalty is super important to me, and I consider myself a very loyal person. So I completely understand. That's great. I did have another question, but I had to ask you.
I was like, I gotta get on this level.
It's just fun. It's fun. I mean, Kelton's the witch between the two of us, so she can tell you.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious though. I want to know a little more about your agent relationship because I think this is an area that a lot of people don't think about. Now you have a project you're promoting on your own. Obviously, your agent is a little involved, but what is the expectation of you from your agent now? You know, like you said, you want to have that be like a lifelong relationship. So like, what are you guys doing?
Well, we're emailing every so often. I'm sending her a list. I'm like, here's little more drawings for your refrigerator. Here's all the things I did this week. So right now, I mean, we've been working together since 2017. So I feel like we're good at having space. And then when I've got something, I kind of give it to her. I told her I was going to write an essay that she was going to help me place, and I haven't done that yet, but maybe this summer. But yeah, I know she's there, which is good. And so that just takes a huge load off.
I hadn't thought about essay placement with agents.
Yeah.
Has she done that work with you already?
She has. The last thing that I like really published that wasn't like my own newsletter or like a friend's newsletter, I wrote an essay about, I had 4 miscarriages before I had my daughter. And weirdly, Bigfoot became kind of a spiritual talisman during that time. So I wrote this kind of goofy essay about like cryptozoology and reproductive struggles. And she was like, all right, let's see who wants it. And Oprah Daily published it. And I was like, this never would have occurred to me on my own. I never ever would have been like, yes, Oprah Daily, let's see if they want something by me. But I was like,
you know who wants some Bigfoot fanfic?
I know.
Oprah
I was like,
Daily.
well. So yeah, I think it can really help to have someone that's like, I mean, I have a decent mind for entrepreneurial stuff. I mean, passable, but having someone who's not involved in my own personal ego or my own personal sense of myself when she's looking out here, like, here's the editors I know that are going to like buy something. Like, that's really, really useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a long time ago at this point. That was like 2022, which seems like ancient history, but
how did you get your agent? What was that process like for you?
When I finally had the book in a place that felt like passable, I'd worked on it a lot with my writing group. I just cold queried. Like, I had a whole spreadsheet, and it was summer 2017, and I just sent a lot of absolutely cold emails to everyone that seemed like even remotely a good idea. And I think in that time, I started writing the book the summer around the time that Leslie Jamison's empathy exams came out, like a bunch of personal nonfiction essays, memoirs by younger women was kind of popping off in as much as that kind of thing can. So by 2017, it was kind of more obviously, I don't know, it felt like a more sure bet in 2017 than it did in 2021 even. So there was some interest, and I had maybe 3 agents that were reading it and wanted to talk, which if I was querying it now, I feel like there would be just like crickets. But I had 3, and I was weirdly, like, for work or maybe with my husband's work, I was going to be in New York just by happenstance. And I was like, oh God, I got to pull like a power move. I got to be like, I am going to be in town briefly. Like, would you like to meet with me? So I wound up having 3 conversations and then just picked the one that I felt like I had the best rapport with and the best connection with. She was from South Carolina and went to school in Mississippi and Virginia. She has an American Studies, like Southern Studies degree. So I wasn't having to explain myself as a Southerner, which weirdly I did feel like I often feel like kind of like I have some things to answer for some reason when I'm talking to someone that's like grew up in Manhattan, went to school in Manhattan, works in Manhattan, might go to
That's anyone who's not
Rockaway
from
Beach
New York.
occasionally. I
Yeah.
know. And I'm just like, I don't want to answer the questions that you're trying to ask me. Although I really screwed it by getting a kudzu tattoo. They're like, like the most cliche. But yeah, we just had a good rapport. And I felt like also that she got the book. She was excited about it. We were like roughly the same age. Not that that really would have mattered. Like maybe an older agent would have had more wisdom, but I just felt like we had a really good vibe. And that has continued. So yeah, I think I got lucky in a way. Like I've had friends that had agents that wound up having to kind of part ways for various reasons, even though they had a good first relationship. But
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
it's not at all. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I know.
Not at all.
Especially if a book doesn't sell, then it's kind of like, is it you? Is it me?
Yeah.
But fortunately, we both realized that it wasn't either one of us. It was the marketplace.
The marketplace. Yeah.
I don't know who will be able to see the big fat air quotes. the marketplace.
We got about 20 people who like watch the
Okay,
the
great.
episode on YouTube every week.
I think we
That's
can
for
also we can feel those quotes around
Great.
that marketplace
Yeah.
looming
It's
above
in
us.
italics. It's like the italics is like every other letter is capitalized. You know?
Yeah.
Marketplace.
The marketplace.
So I've gotten this question a lot, and I wonder, Kelton, if you've had it where people will be like, why don't you just self-publish? Why don't
Oh,
you
yeah.
just self-publish? Like, it's the easiest thing in the world to just like
Yeah.
publish your book on your own. I look at it and I'm like, oh, you got to do all your own marketing. You got to do you got to do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you made the decision, what were your expectations, and then how were those expectations completely, changed when you went through the process? What surprised you?
That's a great question. I feel like asking that of someone whose book is still like in flux and hasn't even reached its semi-final form is like a different question than someone who feels they're like, this book either dies or I do it myself. So it's kind of like, why did you choose to grab the rope that was dangling over your head and climb up it? It's like, well, that's how I was going to get out of the deep, dark hole. I wasn't like fantasizing for years about a rope. I would rather have not been in the hole and had a nice ladder or something, but it just was the choice that I had to put it out on my own. There were micro choices within that for a while. I was like, well, maybe I'll serialize it on a newsletter, or maybe I'll just like, print it more like a magazine-y type thing. I mean, for years I joked about just like tweeting the Google Doc. That was my backup plan for a long time. I just want it to exist. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to make it exist, like I at least need to make
Make it really exist.
look good and like make it look as real as possible. But I think there are a lot of authors now, I've learned this from the internet, that they kind of were like, feel like they're like at a crossroads. They're like, should I trad pub or should I self pub? Which I think is more of a legitimate question if you're writing certain kind of like genre fiction that tends to have a very active readership, no matter how it comes to you.
Also
But for
seen
like
some people
literary
with rather
memoir, it's like
large,
not the choice.
With some like larger audiences, people are like, oh, I went self pub. And it's like, well, yeah, because
Yeah.
like it was an easy choice for you because you had 45,000 subscribers of which 500 of them will probably convert, and
Yeah.
you'll make like some money off of this. But
Yeah, I
like
was recently
self-publishing outside of
exactly.
that reality is scarier. You don't have like
Yeah.
a platform that just kind of sells it a little bit for you.
Yeah. It was like the practical thing of who do I know that was actually going to buy this? And then there was a thought of like, is this shooting myself in the foot actually? Because self-publishing still doesn't have a great reputation. I feel like, I mean, in the world of Substack books people, it's really been like interesting to watch. I feel like the past months as my book has been coming out, I've been reading more about self-publishing in kind of a more mainstream publishing thought leadership. I don't know, Substack people. But it's almost like a begrudging acceptance that it's a reality as like an economic reality. A lot of these big self-pub authors are getting like big deals, like the Theo of Golden author and a lot of fantasy and romantasy people. But I can kind of, I mean, I might just be projecting, but there's almost a kind of like swallowing bile before they start talking about it. Like, yes, there are a lot of really excellent self-published work. I'm like, have you read any? Can you actually think of any? Or are you just trying to be like kind of nice? But I had a lot of bad feelings about it too. But it's still like, there's like a stank on it that
Yeah. There's a
you
huge
kind of have to
stigma
work
around
through.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Read plenty
I don't
of self-published books. I had no idea. I don't know who published a book.
that's also, yeah.
Often books that I have gotten recommended or, that are on Book Talk that are like, oh yeah, this book was great. And so I'll add it to my TBR or it's on Kindle Unlimited and
Yeah.
I'll download it. And then I realize afterwards, like, oh, this was
Yeah.
self-published. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it. I read
Yeah.
3 of them. Give me more,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that the difference is how do you get your book known and into the world? And if you have
Yeah.
a writing community, that really helps because you can come on a podcast and talk about your
Yeah.
book and get people to share it. And I feel like if you don't, the thing that people are thinking about is like someone who's just like shooting something into the void and not doing anything about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that really helped turn my mind around when I was considering self-publishing is realizing how much work even traditionally published authors have to do to promote their own stuff. I started this when I had the fantasy of I'm going to send it off to my publisher and they're going to do all the work. And that might have been true in like 2012, but it's not true now. I would have to be out here like doing my song and dance routine. Even if I got like an actual, that's not fair to say, like a traditional publishing deal. Like I would still be out here being a clown on Instagram, probably.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be like in order to sell like literally anything. You have to be like, buy it.
Please. Yeah. But I've heard from people that are like, especially people like at bookstores or publishers that I've talked to that are like, you wouldn't believe like the people that just kind of like expect us to have a book, even if they're like traditionally published, just to have, why don't you stalking my book? Like, why aren't you talking about my book? Some authors, I think, have a sense of entitlement that it will just go out there. And it's like, oh, well, you do have to be like building all these relationships too. Start 10 years ago, join a book club. And then your friend Megan, well, bring in her sister-in-law and then she'll tell you about her favorite podcast. And there
That's
you
the
are.
way
You
to
have
do
to
it.
start 10 years early.
I have maybe an ignorant question just because I don't know
Oh, yeah.
a lot about it, but are you having conversations with booksellers to get your book into bookstores?
Oh, this is one thing that I've really had to learn. The difference between fulfillment and distribution. I don't know if this is like too wonky, but so I go through.
No, let's hear all
Okay,
about
great.
it. Yeah, let's
So-
wonk.
I publish the book through Ingram Spark, which is I upload all the files. They do all the printing and the delivering. Like I can order a box of books. Any bookstore can go into Ingram, which is like the software, the program they use to like order books for the store and wholesale it. Or the more I talk, the more I'm like, is that what it's called? Like a bookstore, like the bookstore down the street from my house can order it through Ingram. Just like they would order any other book, like Stephen King or, Lena Dunham, anybody. But so I thought that was distribution. That's not distribution. That's fulfillment. What distribution is, and this is the key. I was just having a conversation with a guy named Andrew Mack who runs a small press out of North Carolina, and they do a lot of poetry. And he's like, we're talking about getting a distributor, but it just changes the way you get money. But if you don't have this distributor, who's the person with the sales reps, they're talking to the bookstores. They're putting your books in the catalogs. They're pushing it out there. That's what the bookstore is getting most of their books from. That's what a bookstore, like wherever you guys live, that's how they would possibly know about my book, for the most part. There was a couple bookstores like Malaprops in North Carolina. I had a friend pre-order the book through them, and they were like, oh, we're going to stock it because we saw we got a pre-order. So like sometimes something like that'll happen. But most of the time, it's through a distributor and their sales reps. So, or it's through an author being like, I want to have an event there. Can you support my event by buying some books? Or just going to them one-on-one. I sent emails, I've sent postcards. Here's the information. But most, like a bookstore in Kansas City or Portland or New York City, there's not a reason that they would care about me, a person from Chattanooga, Tennessee. But I've had a lot of really good luck with our local bookstores who are like, yes, you're here. You have a community here, and in Atlanta too. So it's kind of weird. This is like the wonky stuff that I didn't know anything about at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
so
anything
that's
about
like
this.
anything.
Yeah.
I don't, like
It's
when
like-
you go to self-publish, what is even the first step of that? When you made that, when you
Ooh.
climbed the rope, when you were like, there's that rope,
There's the
I'm
rope.
gonna take it. Assuming you have like it edited and polished and stuff,
Yeah.
what are the next steps to like, I'm going to self-publish this?
Yeah, the first step was that I hired a dear friend of mine who's an excellent copy editor to do a copy edit on it. So that
Smart.
was, yeah. And then I just Googled like how to self-publish, and I found this is a good first step. The Reddit community self-publish, r/self-publish. So a lot of that was like mostly learning through other people's like boneheadedness and their mistakes. Because a lot of it seems, I published my first book. It's 300,000 words of dragon detective fantasy fiction with a memoir twist. And I don't understand why it's not selling. And I'm like, okay, I need to take notes. But the first like technical step is buying ISBN numbers. Did you know you can just buy ISBN numbers? The long number that's on the back
I did
of
know
every
this.
book.
Yes.
There's a dealer, Bowker, Bowker.
You want selling ISBN numbers.
I know.
now.
I was like going to the guy with like, he's like, you want these? You want these? But yeah, you can buy like a bulk pack. I bought 10.
Nice.
I was like, well, might as well like shoot for the stars. But if you want your book to be available through any retail platform, like whether it's Amazon or your local bookstore, you have to have an ISBN number. So I did that, and then I like just kind of mucked around for a while. I actually published 2 like technically maybe chapbooks, but I just called them the little books, that were like very short essay collections that I had written for a newsletter like about a year before that. So I was like, I need a test project that's not like the entirety of my hopes and dreams. So I used some of my ISBNs on those and like kind of ran it as a test to see like, how does this actually work? What are these going to look like? Are they going to look like crap? Or are they going to look pretty good? They look pretty good. And then what is the response if I do nothing? I was like, what's my baseline? If I just like post about it on Instagram a few times. So that was good. I feel like if anyone's considering self-publishing, like having like a little test project is really, really useful.
That's very scientific of you.
Yeah,
ran-
surprisingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist, but I was like, I like to have a plan and know what's going to happen before it happens, which is pretty unfortunate because most of the time you don't get that.
Well, you got your baseline.
Yeah.
And then you know what you can work off of and
Yeah.
set some goals. That's really cool.
And that's another thing, is that there's just no real sharing of information, even in like traditional publishing.
Yeah.
Most authors are kept really in the dark about what their sales are, if their publisher is like happy or unhappy, what they should expect for sales. I know that like advances kind of set this high expectation for what it might sell. And then when a book is not actually selling, there's just a lot of obscurity around everything. And especially with self-publishing. So I've been trying to like grab every little bit of information that I can.
Yeah, it's really hard to know, even, for the books that when you walk into a big Barnes & Noble and you see them on
Yeah.
the table, like, are these successful? It's really you assume.
Yeah.
You assume that they're selling well because
Yeah.
they're on the table when you walk in the front door. But it's like a black box. It's very gate-kept information.
Yeah.
Overall.
And it's crazy because people pin all their like hopes and dreams and sanity on these things,
Yeah,
where it's really like, you don't even know what you're pinned onto.
I know. And I think what it comes down to is how you felt at the end of it, where you were just like, I have to get this out. This is something that I spent a lot of time on and that I care a lot about. And it's really about the art more than all of the ephemera that comes around it. So that's interesting. So the distributors have sales reps, and the sales reps talk to the booksellers.
Yeah.
And that's how books get into bookstores. Look at that.
Yeah.
We're learning something.
Yeah. I mean, I am not an expert, so I could be wrong. Maybe you'll have some very informed listeners who correct you, but that's my understanding. In addition to my local bookstore will stock a book because someone saw it online or like someone pre-ordered it and they'll get another copy. I think that's like the wonder and magic of local bookstores is that there are actual humans. Mm-hmm. And some Barnes & Nobles, I feel like the staff are like maybe empowered to have that idiosyncratic discretion. But yeah, for the most part, it's distributors.
So tell us about how it's been going on the promotion front. Yeah.
It's been going good. It's going well. Good or well. I think, yeah. As of yesterday, I've sold 200 copies.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Which is like tomorrow, it's been out for a month. So that was kind of like I don't know. I was like, it'll be nice if it sells 200 copies. It would be really nice if I broke even. But I recently did my taxes and realized how long it's going to be before I actually break even on what I've put into it.
Never mind the 10 plus years you worked on it.
Right.
years.
Yeah. And that really, honestly, like after you work on a book for a really long time, you're like, what would the appropriate amount of money to make up for this? Like $1 billion, $1 trillion? There's no way. But yeah, so it's been going well. I realized after the book came out, like I don't know when to stop promoting it. So that's been kind of a source of some.
You never stop
I know
promoting it.
until I absolutely have to work on the next thing. But I'm like, I'll give it through the summer. Let's see. But yeah, it's going well. People have read it that I don't know, which is really exciting. But also people that I do know have really showed up in a way that has made it feel really, really special. For a while, I was like, well, just my friends and family will buy it. But a lot of people's friends and families don't care and don't support their work. They kind of do, but they're like, ugh, they seem not genuinely involved. But like having a community, I realized, is the thing that is making this successful. My mom's friends came to my book launch that I've known since I was a teenager. And people that I've met through the bookstore, like the book club at the bookstore, came to it. It was hosted at my local bookstore, Book and Cover, because like when we moved here a couple of years ago, I joined the book club and got involved in the community. So it's really been like almost like Rachael Maddux, this is your life. I didn't know that I was like fostering all these relationships really until I saw them all in one place. And I was like, oh shit, I wasn't like exploiting them to sell a book, but like the fact that all these people have showed up has been really amazing. And then also the strangers on the internet being like, I loved this. Oh, I got both.
That is the best feeling.
That is the best feeling when someone you've never met before reaches out and tells you how much your art means to them.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah, it's the dream. And it's wild. I'd be like looking through, I mean, like I have to read my own, I don't have to, but I am reading my own Goodreads reviews, which
I thought you're not supposed to do that. Right?
I would like, I probably shouldn't be, but here I am checking every day. And I'm like, oh my God, this is truly the most like, this sounds like someone crafted an AI review to make this the perfect review for me. But I trust that it's a real person because she got it on NetGalley
using AI.
But I have a whole other conversation is like the author scam emails that are written by AI they truly are like, this is the most generous read of my book. And I'm like, this was written by a non-human entity that is just trying to get me to respond so they can take my money. That's a whole separate thing.
What a world.
What a world. But it's been going well. It's been going really well.
Speaking explicitly of humans, you had mentioned a writing group. I would love to hear about your writing community and your writing group and what that looks like for you.
My book wouldn't exist without my writing groups. In 2014, and I was like very, like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if this is for me. I don't have an MFA. I didn't go to grad school in part because I was like, those workshops sound terrifying. I grew up as like, I'm going to write one draft and it's going to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, I don't want to hear anything about it. And then in 2014, I met some women one woman, Stacey Mattingly, who's incredible. She's teaching in Boston and I don't know if she'll listen to this, but Stacey, I love you. In Atlanta, she was starting a group of like a writers group that would meet at this amazing arts facility in Atlanta called the Goat Farm. There were actual goats. It was incredible. And she got all these women together that were just like in all these different genres and disciplines. And it was pretty regular. It was a weekly thing. Someone would submit, everyone would provide feedback. And then started off very as professional as something like that can be. And then we all became incredibly intensely interwoven in each other's lives. And that went for several years and then kind of disbanded as people moved to other cities. And from that group, like another group spun off that was my two friends that became really close friends that I knew I could send at any moment. I was like, I have a new chapter. Can you read it? And they would give me like excellent feedback. And on their own work, I've learned so much from reading poetry and fiction, which are not my genres, and how to give feedback and how to think about things as a reader and as a writer at the same time. It's almost hard to talk about because the book absolutely wouldn't exist. Not just without the structure, but without the relationships and the encouragement. It wouldn't be real. It wouldn't be real without them.
I want a writer's group. I was
my
like,
gosh.
I
I'm
should
like-
start a writer's group.
Well, you guys have such a special thing going on. The way that you kind of set goals for each other every week and then check back in, that felt really familiar to me. What are we going to do? What can we do together? And what can we make that fits like our own personalities and our own projects? And I'm just going to work on this. I'm going to try the Post-its on the wall. That didn't work.
Yeah.
Like we all saw what worked and what didn't work for other people. And doing it alone is just crazy making. I mean, you have to be alone so much of the time anyway that you need to have this other person that can understand you.
Yeah, there is something
Yeah.
magic though about getting together every week and
Oh, yeah.
reading each other's work and eating snacks and
Oh,
just-
yeah. During COVID, we tried to meet still because we were all in different cities and it was just like good, kind of, but not the same as being in the same place even.
Yeah.
But if that's all you have too, then that's like better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really making me want to look at my libraries, clubs. I've been I know you're familiar, both of you. I've been in the toddler trenches. He's
Oh,
just
yeah.
about to turn 2. And
yeah.
a lot of the stuff that I had participated in prior to him existing is in the evening. And like
Yeah.
right now, I am bedtime. So like
Yeah.
I can't be at a thing during bedtime. And so
Or
I'm like
maybe you
waiting for
can.
that.
Maybe this is the thing that's gonna get you out
Well,
of the house.
once the weaning is
Oh,
complete
yeah.
and like bedtime can be completed by somebody else, like I will open up my calendar to participate in these sorts of things. And so I know that my library has 5 different book clubs minimum. Like they have a bunch of book clubs, and I think there's like 2 writers groups. I know there's a writers group in the town over that focuses more on poetry, but even knowing them, I mean, one of that group has our state poet laureate in it. So it's
Oh,
like I
yeah.
could at least be like, here are the poems I'm writing for my child.
Oh, you really just need one person to vibe with. And then even if you're in a group and it's not working, you can kind of be like, me, let's get out of here. Like, let's go do our own thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it can take, I mean, like I lucked out, but I've definitely, I don't know, probably over the years met people that were like, let's exchange some writing. And I'm like, I don't think that's going, I'm spoken for. You kind of just know. You just know when you meet a person, you have to hold on to them like really tight no matter where they are.
Yeah. It's especially, I mean, in Los Angeles, there's a lot of writers and a lot of
Oh,
writing
yeah.
groups and a lot of library things. And I've dipped my toe in, but I'm always a little nervous. But I would love a, West Valley women's writers group. Sorry. I feel like that would be really fun. I was like already thinking like, where could we meet up?
Oh yeah, having a set place and just a set time and like never changing it.
Yeah,
Even if
that's the
someone's, I've got a
important
thing. It's like, well, you just won't be there.
You're
that
gonna
time.
miss
We're not
it. We're
gonna
not-
like try to chase everybody's schedules.
No,
Yeah.
finding a day that works for everyone is hard. You got to stick to it.
Yeah. And to be very clear, all of this happened in my life before I had a child.
Yeah,
I
and
appreciate
before
that
COVID
clarity.
too.
Pre-COVID,
Yeah.
pre-child, like I had a day job at a tech company the whole time I was working on the book, the first 9 drafts. So that also like I feel like I should have said that earlier. That padded everything out. It wasn't like there was any kind of financial stakes involved. Yeah, I wrote the book while I had a job and no kid, and I published it while I had a kid and no job. So that's my advice.
How old is your daughter now, Rachel?
She's 3.5 this week.
Okay.
And I remember being in the breastfeeding trenches for sure. I wrote some during her first year, but my brain was just occupied with so much else, hormonally, logistically, like Kelton, you're gonna get out of this, and you're gonna be like, one day you'll have a day and you're like, oh, there I am.
That's the short story I'm gonna write, is a woman getting her powers back after she weans her child.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, you have powers, but they're just like directed somewhere else right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're being siphoned.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You're in it. You're in it still. I mean, you probably know this, but like you will be, but if you're in it, that means you'll be out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I said,
Yeah.
I forgot my kids are 7 and 12. Like
Oh my
I forgot
gosh.
all of it already.
I've forgotten what a 2-year-old is like even.
I couldn't tell you. Also, my daughter was 2 during COVID. I was drinking a bottle of wine a night, so I don't remember anything.
Who were any of us?
Yeah, right. Oh, man. Well, Rachel, I would love to hear, we like to ask our guests what their top 3 books are.
Ooh. Top 3 ever?
It can
We're
be
really
ever,
loose
Or just
with
like
we're very
or
loose
it can
with
be
it.
like what's top of mind right
Top of
now.
mind.
It's just
Okay.
like give me 3 books.
okay, good, because I was thinking about this earlier. The book that I am still thinking about the most that I read recently is by this little guy named George Orwell. I think he's gonna
Little
be
guy.
really
I was worried. You said little guy. I was like,
just a little guy named
Literally?
George. I read, I'm going to say it, and in my Tennessee voice, I'm going to sound like such a redneck. Homage to Catalonia, which is like his account of serving in the Spanish Civil War, which I knew nothing about. I haven't actually read 1984, despite being born in 1984, but I got a used copy of this, and I was like, this sounds topical. All these fighting fascists and whatnot. It is just like it was the most riveting read I've had in a really long time. Like his prose is just incredible. His thinking is just so clear about the worst, most horrible things. It was funny. It was harrowing. It doesn't seem like a really obvious recommendation, but I really loved it. Like reading it in my daughter's room in like semi-darkness, waiting for her to go to sleep is where I read it. And I just finished the audiobook of, I love Tana French, who is an American writer who passes really well as an Irish person, but she just released a new book, like the last in a trilogy, called The Keeper. And I did the audiobook of that and I loved it. And I'm so sad that it's over. And the next book that I'm really excited to read is something by Clarice Lispector, a person I know through the bookstore near my house who is also a bartender at the bar next door, was hyping her up. And I had just Googled her and realized she looks like my paternal grandmother. So I was like, the stars have aligned. I need to read some Clarice Lispector. I don't know what it'll be, but she's next.
very nice. I was also born in 1984.
Oh, hello.
I'm older than you. by,
Which
like,
month?
a
Wait,
month.
you're a month.
October.
Oh, yeah. October.
Because
Okay.
Scorpio is October, November.
Yeah, Scorpio starts like October 24th because my daughter is on the 22nd. So I almost was a Scorpio giving birth to a Scorpio, which people were scared for me. But I was like, okay, I don't know. She's a Libra.
I'm a
I don't know
Libra.
that.
Yeah. Very cool. So what is the non-Southern way to say that book? Is it homage?
Homage to Catalonia? I don't know.
Homage to Catalonia.
Homage. I'm sure you guys know that like the words that you only ever read,
Yes.
like as a reader, like
Yes.
I still remember reading The Babysitter's Club and being like, it was total chose. It was total chose when the twins were playing in the backyard.
What is the
That's
word?
amazing. Chaos.
Oh, I like that you got it. I was like, chose.
I mean,
Chose.
my husband is constantly correcting not only how I pronounce words, but my usage of them.
Oh, no.
He's really, really smart. And so I appreciate that he's like guiding me along, but every once in a while I do have to push back on him because I have such a much more fantastical use of language than he does.
yeah.
And he's a little autistic. So he'll be like, he is autistic. So he'll just be like, that's not what the word means. This is what the word means. And I'm like, I'm a writer. I can make a word mean
Make it
something.
work. What's a word that you made mean?
We were camping in our neighbor's van this past weekend, and we were talking about the setup within the van. And I was saying there's like a bed platform, and the bed platform is sitting in a space in the van that I thought could have been like a little lower or a little higher. It just felt like a weird space. And I was like, the undercarriage beneath the bed feels really encumbered by where the bed is. And he was like, it can't be encumbered by it. Like, that's, to be unencumbered is to lift a weight, and there is no weight upon it. And I was like, that space could feel the weight of the bed above it. If you anthropomorphize the space below, it could feel anything. And he was like, that's not how spaces work.
That made total sense. When you said it, it made sense to me.
As a true millennial, I'll quote the Simpsons and say that was perfectly cromulent.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also like undercarriage, which I've used mostly in the context of like my own body recovering from childbirth.
Sure. I was like, where are we going with this? Because my brain went to the same place. Awesome. Well, Rachel, it's been so great to have you.
This is so great. I don't want to. We can just keep talking. I don't know.
I got nothing else to do today.
Can you tell me about what you're working on, or is it like too much to talk about?
Yeah, we can talk about what we're
I've been trying to
on.
figure out, like, from listening to the episodes. I'm like, I think, okay, it's fiction, but like, what is it?
Yeah,
It's so funny to hear from your perspective that, like,
tell us more about what you
Krisserin
think.
and I, it's like we've been talking about these projects for so long that I think sometimes we forget to, like, explain to new listeners like what they are.
Oh, I think that's great though. It's like little breadcrumbs. You gotta, I'm like going back in time. But I do want to know. I do want to know.
I guess we need to be better about being like, it's like when you read a second book or a third book and the writer will go back and kind of retell something that's happened. I'm like binge reading these books. I know. I just read that book. I don't need to know. I didn't forget. But I guess we need to do some of that breadcrumbing for our listeners. So I write fiction. I have a YA speculative fiction novel with my agent out right now, or it's going to be going out. And it's YA speculative fiction, science fiction, something like that. I also have short stories that I'm working on, and I'm going to start my MFA program in July. Ooh. So my plan is there's a book that I actually, similar to you, I wrote the first draft of it. Gosh, I finished it in 2013. And I've gone
big year.
Yeah, big
for the
year.
millennials.
Yes. I went back to it, I want to say recently, and did a big edit of it, but it's a big book. The first draft was 140,000 words, and it's a multi-generational. It is like the book that when I knew I wanted to be a writer, it's carrying all the themes that are most important to me, family and alcohol and intergenerational trauma and all of those fun lighthearted topics. Yeah. So my hope is that through the MFA program, I'll be able to finally finish that book and hopefully publish it. But
what MFA program is it?
It is the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe. Low residency MFA.
That sounds really nice.
I'm really excited about it.
Santa Fe.
Yeah, I was just talking to Kelton. I had my orientation on Monday and got to see all the faces of my classmates. And it was like all women and one man. And I could just tell we're going to have a blast.
Oh, and you get to go to Santa Fe every
twice a year.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh, man. Maybe I do need an MFA. In green chili cheeseburgers.
Yeah, maybe you just need a week away from the 3.5-year-olds and you'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah, when we host our retreat, maybe we'll do it somewhere in New Mexico, and
that's the idea.
Get everybody out there.
Courtney Mom's like writing workshop thing. I was like, maybe I should apply.
I know, right?
Her sounds incredible.
I know.
That's way fancier than I think what we'll do.
Kelton, tell me about your book.
Well, I have a paused project right now, a nonfiction proposal loosely titled The Ecology of Belonging, which is investigating like the conditions for growth for humans to find places where they actually belong and thrive.
Oh, nice.
And that I had queried a few agents, and I got some really, 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 really helpful feedback. And so
the helpful rejection is so like, oh, thank you, actually.
Yeah, it's so generous. And so I have tabled that because I was a little dejected about having spent so much time and then having to spend so much more time. Yeah. So I stepped away from that momentarily, and we'll be thinking about that this summer, because this summer I'm writing an essay series writing letters to the places I've lived before. And then I'm actually going to send those letters to those places. So whoever lives there now will like have an account of what it was like living there in 2009 and 2010. And so I think that's going to help me kind of think about the proposal and like where we live and what it means to us. But in the meantime, working on kind of an American Gothic fiction novel, loosely titled Amanita Keep. That is like fun and wild and like lots of like problems with time. And so that's what I've promised Krisserin. I will get her first draft of that by the end of the summer.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I should have mentioned I'm working on a fun romance book, and that is the draft that I'm going to give to Kelton.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, you guys have a lot of things. I'm like, I like it. I just started a thing that I just thought of. Have you read Yesteryear, the book that just came out about?
It's coming in the mail.
Okay. Several things you just said made me think of that, like very specifically.
That's the one that's going to be made into a movie with what's
Anne
her name?
Hathaway.
Yeah. She just bought the rights to it.
Yeah.
I love it. Tradwife gets dumped into the time that she was fantasizing about.
Amazing premise for a book.
Great premise.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it'll like course correct the world from the romanticization of the Lorena farmified life.
Oh, yeah.
Please. Do you really want to go back to the time when polio existed?
Do you? Do you? Although I read the first chapter and then I was like, I should make my child dinner. I'll make her some eggs. Like, I'm not the cook in our family, and I felt this need to be like, I'm going to make my child some eggs. So, yeah. Maybe it'll have the opposite effect on me.
Oh, no. You're like, I'm going to start wearing floor-length skirts. And maybe I will go to a Baptist church.
Oh, no, never. Sorry. Not to yuck your yums, but not for me.
Tell our listeners where they can find your book.
Oh, you can find them. Let me start over. Wow, I just got into like social mode and I like forgot my entire life. My book is available anywhere you buy books online for sure. Please don't use Amazon. But if you have to, it's there. If you want it from your local independent bookshop, you'll probably have to special order it, but that would actually be great because then maybe they'll see it and know that there's interest and stock it. But yeah, bookshop, anywhere you can buy a book. Life Expectancy, a Memoir is the name of it. And then I have two other ones called The Void and Third Person, which are like the little books that are also available. They also have ISBN numbers.
And they can find out more about your books and your website, which is rachelmaddux.com. But RACHAELMADDUX.com.
Yeah.
And where can they find you on social media?
Also, Rachael Maddux at Instagram. No longer on TikTok. I gave it a good shot, and Instagram is the way my brain is broken, so that's where I am.
Yeah, it's hell there. I don't want to be there either. I spent a lot of time on Saturday going through my personal account and the Pen Pals account, removing the auto opt-in AI remix feature that they just launched.
Oh, so no, I got one more thing.
I know. Just another thing you have to do. Man. All right, Rachel, it was so great to have you on the pod.
This was so fun.
Thanks for being a listener. Everyone go buy her book, Life Expectancy.
Oh, yeah. Please do that.
I literally just did.
Oh my gosh. Let me know when I can pre-order all of your many books, and I will.
We will for sure.
Or if you need a publisher. I have like 6 ISBN numbers left. So. No, 4. Just four, but I'll give you each.
Thank you. You'll give us a deal?
Oh, yeah. Or you could just buy your own.
I love it.
It's like, yeah. Why not?
All right.
Just stock up.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, y'all.
It's interesting with self-publishing. I'm so glad that we finally had someone on because it's when we mentioned painters in the intro, and I was just thinking about how like painters never had like agents. It was just like they made the paintings and then they were like, look. And like I love that about writing, the idea of just being like, I wrote it, look, and not letting a publisher kind of limit your options to being like, well, no big people wanted it, so I guess I'm just going to hide it in the closet. Like, you still made that art. So Rachel's really making me think about my future as a writer.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't mention of the million things I did this last week is I went to the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books on Sunday, and it was a zoo. I really miss. They used to have it at UCLA, and it was, in my opinion, better. But that's not just because I don't want to drive downtown and go to USC, and because I went to UCLA. But I just think it was like a better, like a more. There's more room, like more room to breathe. There are a lot of indie publishers there, and I think that we forget that there are these other paths. I was thinking of Allie Gordon and how she got her book published. And, there is another writer who's from LA, Chiwon Choi, and we interviewed him I interviewed him at AWP, and he said, it's 2025, 2026. This is 20. I don't remember when AWP was. Stop asking for permission to publish your work. You've got to get your stuff out there. I think that, there are people who are very lucky who just like fall into traditional publishing paths. But if you really want to get your story told, I think especially in memoir, I think in essays, think about taking it by your own hands and making it happen. That's another thing that Lego movie made me think about is Pharrell tells the story of how he was just unapologetically ambitious. He knew that his beats were amazing, and he like broke down rooms and jumped on desks and just made it happen for himself. And I feel like as writers, we got to do that. We got to be unapologetically ambitious about our art. So thank you, Rachel. Thank you. It's inspiring. I feel so inspired.
Yeah, me too. Once this allergy attack is over, I'm going to be unstoppable.
I wish I could like go through the screen and give you a hug. I'm so sorry.
No, that's my goal for the week ahead, is to get a lot of hugs.
Your goal was also one last feeding last week. How did that go?
That went fine.
Oh,
that went
okay.
fine. So we have a little reverse psychology trick that is working. Woods has this thing where like if we put out like blueberries for breakfast and then they're still there at lunchtime and we're like, you can have some of those blueberries, he's like, they're old. And so I started telling him that this milk is old. I was like, this milk's old. There's new milk in the fridge. And you can see his little brain going, oh, this milk is old. I've been drinking this milk for 2 years. And he started to be like, new milk, please. And so that has reduced, we were down one feeding. So that has worked to just trick him and be like, this milk's old. And he's like,
Kelton,
I
you're
don't like old food.
You're so smart. Wow. What a kid.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. I like that my mom's advice is you just have to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, she's right. It just in the broader sense of like parenthood, like you just have to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, my mom, as you've heard, is very encouraging, but she's also the eldest of 8 kids and was very tough on me growing up too. Just like, figure it out, dust off your pants, get up and do it again. So I'm not surprised that was her advice.
I did, after this past week though, like writing the 1,500 words, that was like a scene and a half for me. And I think like that's just going to be my goal for this week as well. I don't want to add anything else to the plate. I don't have any idea what I'm writing for the Sunday newsletter, so I'll also have to get that done. And so that for next week, it's just 1,500 words again. That felt accomplishable. I did that in an afternoon. And if I get more time, I'll write more.
Exactly. So your goal this week is 1,500 words.
Mm-hmm. And to be gentle with myself, I think. Oh, you know what? No, I'm retracting gentle and I'm adding spellcraft. As mentioned previously, I need to do some
so
witchery.
Surprised when you said, I want to be gentle with myself. I was like,
my version of gentle is like something that is not productivity oriented. Like I did get a free moment yesterday. I had like 2 hours free in the afternoon. I didn't have any work to do. I'd finished writing and I was like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to organize part of Woods' closet. And I was like so excited and I found it so relaxing to do, you know? It's like that's my kind of being gentle with myself. But I think this week it's like do some magic. Do some tarot readings, do some spells, because I think you're right. There's like something clogging up my energy, and I need to get it out.
I think so too. I think so
If you guys
too.
have any spells, you like, please send them to officialpenpalspod@gmail.com. We would like to know your spells or witchcraft. What are your goals, Krisserin?
I mean, I think I just need to repeat what I said I was going to do the previous week because I did none of it. I do have to get 20 pages. I have until June 22nd to get my manuscript together for my MFA program. I'm so excited. I get to like pick a mentor. I get to pick from their roster. I'm like, could Tommy Orange be my mentor?
Oh my
Male
gosh, this is
writer.
really cool.
Yeah, I'm really
Male writer.
male writer whom I love. But I'm excited I get to choose my own mentor. So I'll probably work on my short story. Maybe write a little bit. 3 times. I'm going to do my 3 times.
Ooh, 3 times. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think that'll be helpful for me. I'm coming up on a very busy time in May. I'm going to go to 4 different states in like 7 days for work and for fun. So I need to try and front load some work. I don't think I'm going to have
Nice.
any time to write while I'm in Missouri, Nevada, Utah, and Illinois.
Oh, God. What a list.
Oh, well, pen pals, family, friends, buddies, we would love to hear from you. We really would. If you are a writer and you're struggling, let us know. We would love to hear from you and offer you some words of encouragement. You can reach us at officialpenpalspod@gmail.com. Follow us on all the places. We're at penpalspod. We did publish our Substack with our unofficial syllabus. So if you want to go on Substack and check that out, we would love to hear what books are on your unofficial syllabus. You can follow Kelton at KeltonKin. Read her writing at shingerlogs.substack.com. You can follow me at Krisserin on TikTok or read my writing at krisserin.substack.com. And that's it from us. Kelton, I hope you feel better.
Thank you so much. It kind of matches how my protagonist feels in the novel, so maybe it'll help me write accurately.
There you go. Looking on the sunny side. All right,
Only
Kelton.
get sick when your characters get sick.
Writing advice.
All right, happy
everybody.
writing.
Happy writing.